for Ozzy, it will be his last performance. I know that Ozzy doesn't quite get how big it's going to be. Ozzy is feels guilty that he didn't have a chance to say thank you to the fans. He just feels that, you know, because of the accident that happened and Ozzy's Parkinson's, he just stopped dead. And it was like he just said, kept over and over saying to me, it's not finished, it's not finished. I can't be finished till I say thank you.
I have to have a nurse with me now everywhere I go. It's just, I'm burdened to my wife, burdened to everybody that works for me. I mean, I've never been like this in my life.
It's strange because I was the first person that actually told her, something is wrong with you, you're sick, go to a doctor. And we fought for 2 years.
Here we go! Tea lovers, this is the deep dive you clicked for. Aimee Osbourne just cracked the family vault wide open, and the timing couldn't be messier. Ozzy's gone, the morning is raw, and suddenly, the quiet daughter who refused the cameras is hinting that the real sickness in the Osbourne dynasty wasn't just medical, it was control. Tonight, we're threading the whispers, the alleged receipts, and the history that fans ignored for years because the brand was louder than the truth. Before we jump in, help me keep this kind of independent reporting alive, smash like, tap subscribe, and tell me in the comments whose side you're on and why. Buckle up because behind the eyeliner and the television smiles, this story gets ice cold fast.
That you get when you have a relationship, a marriage, for better, for worse, in sickness and in health. My wife has worked her ass off trying to help me get back on my feet. And my kids have been great as well.
But when I was sick with cancer, you used to carry me to the bathroom and back.
But that's what
that's what it's about.
Do. Oh, you don't think twice. Love is such an overused word. Through it all, at the end of the day, I love it more than anything in the world. I put it this way, I couldn't live without her. I don't want to live without her.
At all. Like we don't have a great relationship. She'll be the first to tell you that, so it's no secret. So I've never asked her outright, like, do you regret it? I think there must be a level of like, hey, what, you know, my life probably would have been different than what it is if I'd have done that.
Aimee's distance didn't start at the funeral, it started years before, when she opted out of the family's reality show and moved out as a teenager rather than turn her life into a plotline. That wasn't shy big sister energy, it was a strategic exit from a house where the camera never blinked. Industry insiders have long whispered that she valued her privacy more than fame, which is rare currency in Hollywood. The subtext? If you're not on the show, you can't be edited into a version of yourself that sells. That choice carved a fault line between Aimee and the rest of the family long before grief hit.
Iron Man.
Yes, and then I went on stage and I said, look, don't with us. Don't be disrespectful. Don't with us. This is what you get.
How do you
get the off my stage.
I get you came up with a plan. You said, let's throw eggs at Iron Maiden. Yeah. I like the plan.
I must say at this point, it was nothing whatsoever to do with me. I didn't know it was
You had no idea.
No,
I don't condone that. I think, you know, I said, in actual fact, don't put them on the tour, Sharon, because they are.
If you've ever wondered why she's the ghost sibling in the tabloids, that's the origin story. And if you've ever watched a reality empire close ranks, you know how that plays. Stay off script and you're difficult. Step off stage and you're not family. That decision at just 16 would define decades of quiet resentment, icy glances, and public invisibility. When Ozzy passed, tributes painted him as a once-in-a-lifetime rock legend, which he was, but the funeral had its own silent storyline. Behind the black clothing and solemn faces, fans spotted the emotional distance between Aimee and her siblings.
And like I'm about to be put in the electric chair because I have a friend who many people think is a racist, so that makes me a racist. And for me, at 68 years of age, to have to turn around and say, I ain't racist. What's it got to do with me? Okay? How can I be racist about anybody? How can I be racist about anybody or anything in my life? How can I?
Well,
what?
We will be right back.
What?
We have more topics, so don't go away.
No. Hold on. with war, okay, there are innocent victims on both sides.
If you were from the West Bank and you lost your family, you'd be pissed off.
Of course.
No hugs, no eye contact, and a seating arrangement that made it clear she was on the outer orbit. This wasn't just grief. This was a Cold War. People who know the family privately say Aimee had been biting her tongue for years, avoiding direct shots at her mother out of respect for her father. But with Ozzy gone, the gloves are off. Her cryptic social media posts after the funeral, words like "scorn a siren," "see what happens," felt less like poetry and more like warning shots aimed straight at the matriarch. And in an industry where cryptic captions are often PR stunts, this felt raw and personal. Fans began combing through years of public appearances, interviews, and even old show clips, looking for signs of this tension simmering under the surface. Aimee's main accusation is as explosive as it is damning: that Sharon exploited Ozzy's declining health to push her own opinions, control the family image, and tighten her grip on the business empire. Think about it, Ozzy was publicly diagnosed with Parkinson's, struggling physically, sometimes forgetting things in interviews, and yet he was still being booked, filmed, and used as the public face of opinions and projects. Aimee alleges that many of those stances were not his at all, but Sharon's words coming out of his mouth, if true,
I'll tell you what genocide looks like. You want to go and do a little bit of research about the Second World War. Go to concentration camps, see those pictures. That's starvation. That is genocide. How come none of the men in Palestine look as if they're starving? Have you ever thought that? Why is it only the babies and the women? Because the Palestinians think if they suffer, if they die for their cause, they are going to go and be a martyr, and they're going to live in heaven with whatever happens in their heaven. And the Hamas use the women and the children as collateral. It's collateral to them. Make them suffer, everybody will be on our side.
that's not just overstepping, that's rewriting the voice of a man millions adored. Fans started revisiting interviews where Ozzy looked tired or lost mid-sentence, wondering if they were watching a performance scripted by someone else. Even the idea of protecting him now feels loaded, because according to Aimee, access to Ozzy was tightly controlled, and those who didn't fall in line were shut out completely. And if you think this kind of control came out of nowhere, let's rewind to the infamous Ozfest 2005 egging incident. Iron Maiden was on fire that night, crowd energy, critical love, the whole package. Then, chaos. Fans in the front rows throwing eggs, the sound cutting out, Dickinson taunted mid-performance. Later, Sharon bragged about orchestrating the attack, allegedly paying fans to humiliate the band because she thought they were overshadowing Ozzy. Ozzy, for his part, claimed he had no idea it was happening. Now, you might dismiss it as a petty tour feud, but for many in the industry,
About Sean is, it's not my world. I don't understand any of that world. I don't pretend that I do.
But I don't think this is necessarily a hip-hop related issue.
No, he lives in a total different world. I don't know what he does.
Sure, but you've also been in a position to see entertainers, famous people taking advantage of young girls. You've seen it.
Yeah.
So to say that you know nothing about it, I think is an
Nothing about his
inaccurate.
case, Mum should say.
Yeah.
Ultimately, it comes down to this: guilty people run.
it was a case study in how Sharon handles threats, publicly, ruthlessly, and with the kind of precision that leaves no fingerprints on her until she wants them there. If that's how she's willing to treat industry peers in public, imagine how she maneuvers in private when the stakes are family legacy, brand control, and millions in revenue. Her history of public blow-ups only adds fuel to Aimee's claims. Remember the controversy that blew up her talk show gig? Sharon clashed with co-hosts on air in a heated exchange about race, refusing to back down or self-reflect, and walking away from the job altogether. It showed the side of her Aimee's likely been dealing with for years, a side that doesn't take criticism, doesn't yield, and always finds a way to spin the narrative back in her favor. If you believe Aimee's version, this is the same energy Sharon used in the family home, only with Ozzy's image and voice as the tools. Even Sharon's most loyal fans started wondering, Were we hearing Ozzy's thoughts, or were we hearing the brand's survival strategy disguised as his? Then there's the house fire story, the one that still shocks people years later. Sharon once openly told the story of sending an assistant into a burning building to save artwork and then firing him later for not laughing about it. She recounted it like a quirky anecdote, but to a lot of people, it was a window into how disposable others are in her world. Apply that logic to a vulnerable Ozzy, and Aimee's warnings suddenly feel like they're connecting some very dark dots. If someone can be that cold about an employee's life, would it really be so far-fetched to think she could sideline or manipulate a family member who didn't serve the narrative? And let's not pretend Sharon is a stranger to strategically distancing herself when scandals break. Over the years, she's been seen mingling in high-powered entertainment circles, even encouraging her daughter Kelly to get close to certain industry moguls, only to later claim she had no connection to their world when allegations surfaced. It's a classic PR tactic. Cozy up when the brand boost is there, deny when the heat's on. Aimee's not just talking about health exploitation, she's talking about a lifelong pattern of image control, selective alliances, and calculated silence. This is why her comments hit so hard they're not one-off accusations, they're part of a bigger pattern fans can trace. Meanwhile, Ozzy's death has only raised the stakes. The music catalog, the merchandise empire, the brand rights, they're all part of a massive machine that now has to be steered without him. Fans and insiders are already speculating about who's holding the reins. If Aimee's allegations are true, then the person shaping Ozzy's final narrative is the same person she's accusing of exploiting him. And in the world of rock legends, the story told after you're gone often becomes the truth people remember. That means Aimee's fight isn't just about exposing family secrets, it's about stopping what she sees as a rewrite of Ozzy's legacy while it's still fresh in the public mind. Here's where it gets even messier, because insiders claim Aimee's words have already caused a ripple effect in the inner circle. Supposedly, some longtime friends of Ozzy's who were quietly pushed out in recent years have reached out to her, hinting they'd be willing to share their own experiences. If that's true, we could be looking at a domino effect where more voices start backing up Aimee's claims. And if those voices have receipts, old emails, contracts, messages, it could force the public to see Sharon not just as a strong manager, but as someone who blurred the line between protecting and controlling. This is the kind of shift that can turn fans into skeptics almost overnight. So where does this leave us? We have a daughter who's avoided the spotlight for decades, suddenly speaking up, a mother with a track record of ruthless management and public feuds, siblings caught in the crossfire, and a fan base that doesn't know who to believe. The battle lines are drawn, but this isn't just tabloid drama, it's a high-stakes war over the legacy of one of music's biggest icons. Aimee isn't just airing dirty laundry, she's signaling that she has more to say, and she's not afraid to pull back the curtain, no matter how ugly it gets. If she follows through, we could see private diaries, messages, and testimonies that reshape everything we thought we knew about the Osbournes. If she doesn't, Sharon's version of events will likely cement itself as the official story. Either way, the next chapter won't be decided on stage or in a television edit, it'll be decided behind closed doors. And for the first time, Aimee's ready to keep the mic. And now it's your turn. Is this protective management that sometimes went too far, or a long con dressed up as love? Drop your take below. Hit like if you want a part 2 where we dig into the business deals and estate control post-Ozzy, and subscribe because this story is just heating up. Every exclusive that drops, every family statement, and every subtle move in this power play, we'll be breaking it down right here. Long live the music, but let's make sure the truth gets the spotlight too. But here's the wild card, nobody's talking about the money trail. In celebrity estates, the public rarely sees the real numbers, but whispers say the Osbourne Empire's finances in the last decade weren't as untouchable as fans assumed. Touring slowed, merch sales shifted to online, and behind the scenes, there were allegedly tensions about who controlled what accounts. Some former associates claim they were surprised to see certain contracts renewed or expanded, even when Ozzy's health was clearly declining. Aimee's hints about control could easily extend to money management, especially if she believes deals were being signed or royalties restructured without Ozzy's full awareness. And in an era where streaming rights and licensing deals can make or break a legacy, those choices aren't just paperwork, they're power moves. If Aimee has evidence that big financial calls were made in her father's name when he wasn't fully capable, that could take this from family drama to potential legal scrutiny. And when lawyers get involved, those polite, no-comment statements start turning into subpoenas. And we can't ignore the possibility that Aimee's playing a long game of her own. Stepping into the spotlight after years of silence isn't just catharsis, it's strategy. Some insiders believe she may be preparing a tell-all memoir or a documentary, using her current social media bursts as a slow-burn marketing campaign. It's not impossible. The public loves a redemption arc, especially when it comes from the forgotten family member who was supposedly kept in the shadows. If Aimee's been sitting on decades of journals, photos, recordings, or unfiltered stories from life inside the Osbourne circus, she could drop something that permanently changes how fans see not just Sharon, but the entire family brand. And the irony? If she does it well, she could end up outmaneuvering the very PR machine she's been accusing all along. Because in the end, the loudest voice in the room isn't always the most powerful. Sometimes it's the one who waits, watches, and speaks last. If that's her plan, then Sharon may have finally met the one opponent she can't outspin, her own daughter.